Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sarah Smith here with the latest Sarah Speaks podcast. And today I thought I would record my speech that I made on October the 17th at the NZ Liberty Movement event at Aotea Square. So that was the New Zealand election day, and I accidentally read my draft version on the day instead of the final version. So I thought I would read the final version here for anyone that is interested. So I hope you all enjoy it. Here goes. Welcome back, freedom fighters, liberty lovers and patriots. What a pleasure it is to see you all back here. Congratulations, we made it to October 17th, Election Day, and what a historic one at that. Whether you're voting or not, one thing we can all no doubt agree upon is that freedom is worth fighting for. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom to do as you please, as long as you harm none. Freedom is our God-given right. We are claiming that freedom right here today. I'd like to start with some thank yous. Thank you to all of you for coming today and every other Saturday where you stood here and claimed your freedom. Thank you to the NZLM crew for keeping those events going. It's often a thankless task, and this group has moved heaven and earth to make things happen. Andrew, Jonathan, Luke, Dana, Will, Anna, Jeremy, David, and many others did all they could to varying degrees over the months to ensure these events took place. These people knew the gravity of the situation. They were willing to do what was necessary. Thank you to all our speakers who made these events worth coming to. We are filled with gratitude for all of you for standing up for the people of New Zealand. We've had 4 political parties who will not be named today, but they stood right here on these steps and said the things that many were too scared to say. We want to thank all the politicians, elected officials, and would-be politicians from all political parties who stood here fighting the good fight. For all the everyday Kiwis who threw their hat in the ring and stood for their communities as candidates running in this historic election, we salute you for standing with the people. Thank you to the New Zealand Police for working with us all to keep us safe. All of us involved, most importantly, hopefully the police, understood that the erosion of our civil liberties due to the government's response to COVID-19 was disproportionate to the risk of the virus. The lethality rate being 0.1 to 0.4% did not justify the lockdowns. The COVID Plan B team, a group of New Zealand academics who have been offering New Zealand serious alternatives to the lockdowns, have only been ignored more or less by the mainstream media. The World Health Organization now says lockdowns are doubling poverty rates and should not be used as a primary means of controlling the virus. They also acknowledge that the average age of death by coronavirus is 82 years old, which also happens to be the average age of life expectancy in this country. So slowly but surely, we are being proven correct. NZLM wants to remind you that we have always been apolitical. It may not have seemed that way at times, but our platform was open to anyone and every political party that believed in freedom, ending lockdowns, repealing the COVID-19 health response bill, and restoring our Bill of Rights. We even reached out to the likes of the National Party and the Green Party. No willingness there, as you can imagine. This movement is a people's movement, freedom and liberty are not owned by anyone. The movement cannot be claimed by any single individual. The claiming of sovereignty, freedom, and liberty are etched into each and every single heart and soul, waiting for us to hear the call and act. Truth and freedom are like acorns planted in a barren wasteland, waiting for the rain so they can sprout. For many, COVID-19 was that rain. The acorns have started sprouting, and they will grow into mighty oak trees. For others, the acorns sprouted many moons ago, and they already stand tall and strong, ready to shelter the new saplings. Whether you're a sprouting seed, a sapling, or an oak, we congratulate you for daring to stand up in the face of lies and tyranny. You have shown such dedication, courage, heart, and soul to swim against the current. When people laughed at you, mocked you, and belittled you, you stood strong for what you believed in. Today, we are here to celebrate your bravery. Today, we are here to acknowledge your commitment to the journey, and what a journey it's been. After all these months, I've finally plucked up the courage to pick up the mic. Some of you may not know this, but anti-lockdown freedom protests started here in Aotea Square during the first Level 3 lockdown on May 16. There were about 20 of us, and we marched down Queen Street. We apprehensively walked down the footpath. We got to the ferry building and copped some pushback by onlookers, but by the time we walked back up Queen Street, we were in full flight without any megaphones, announcing, "When your rights are under attack, stand up, fight back." Like other groups around the country, we came every Saturday, but unlike places like Christchurch, Auckland didn't find leaders. So organisation was lacking, and we didn't gain any momentum during the first lockdown. Excuse me. People kept coming until Level 2. Sometimes only a handful of us came, and we would just go for coffee and red pill each other. Excuse me. For me, it has never been about the numbers. It has always been about doing the right thing. Evil prevails when good people do nothing. We are the good people, and we are doing something. And evil will not prevail, not on our watch. On August the 15th, during the second Level 3 lockdown, 30 brave souls started the anti-lockdown protests again. The police came out and almost outnumbered the protesters, bullied a 75-year-old, and told us we had no democratic rights at that point. 5 months later, from that original lockdown in May, and here we are. Still standing, no violence, peacefully protesting. Our numbers eventually reaching into the thousands. And here you are, the trailblazers, walking the road less travelled and doing what is right despite the difficulties. The following is a parable written by an unknown author. It's called The King and the Poisoned Well. Some of you may know it. There was once a wise king who ruled over a vast kingdom. He was feared for his might and loved for his wisdom. Now in the heart of the city there was a well with pure and crystalline waters from which the king and all the inhabitants drank. When all were asleep, 3 witches entered the city and poured 7 drops of a strange liquid into the well. They said that henceforth those who drink this water will become mad. The next day, all the people drank of the water, but not the king. And the people began to say, "The king is mad and has lost his reason. Look how strangely he behaves. We cannot be ruled by such a madman, so he must be dethroned." The king grew very fearful, for his subjects were preparing to rise against him. He had a difficult choice: risk being destroyed by his beloved subjects, or drink from the poisoned well and become mad like them. So that evening he ordered a golden goblet to be filled from the well, and he drank deeply. The next day there was a great rejoicing among the people, for their beloved king had finally regained his reason. So that's an interesting parable, isn't it? Because how many times in the last 7 months did you drink from the well so as not to appear mad? Maybe you were one of the very brave ones and you never drank from the well. Did you wear a mask? Did you stand on a dot? Did you sign in? Did you stop shaking hands? Did you stop hugging? Did you cower like a slave? How many times did you get into fights with your friends and family because you would not fit in? How many times did you get a sideways glance for not complying to the rules that the mad ones made? How many times did you stand in Aotea Square to show this government that you are not mad, and in fact it is them who are mad? So many people drank the poison, and all of a sudden, when the government says it's level 1, they're suddenly okay to go about their daily business as normal. And yet, they don't seem to understand that this exercise was never about the virus. This is about compliance. Each level of compliance is a further infringement on freedom. We say no more lockdowns. No more masks. No more vaccines. We are sovereign. We are free. We are sovereign. We are free. They say that the path of righteousness is narrow and long. It is littered with all sorts of obstacles, barriers, and evils that threaten to throw you off your path. If you value your social status, your role, your possessions, your relationships, or even your life more than righteousness, then you will go the way of the king in this story. You will drink from the well again and again in life. However, if you risk standing out, if you risk being different, risk it all for love of righteousness, there is a greater reward. Let your light shine and dim it for no one and nothing. You only have one life to live and one chance to get it right. We all know what the problems are. We all know how the experts, politicians, corporations, big pharma, and the media are complicit in rolling out one of the biggest tricks ever played on humanity. We all know the dystopian future they are trying to bring about. What's the solution? We're the solution. Who has the power? We have the power. It's time for humanity to get off its knees and rise up. It's time for all of us to understand who we really are. It's time to acknowledge why you are really here. It's time to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with truth, beauty, and goodness, creating freedom for all. We must use the gifts the Creator gave us to imagine and to manifest the future we want for ourselves, for our children, and our future generations to come. So where does this leave us? This is not the beginning. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. We plan to come back here once the dust has settled from the election and carry on. We still have to repeal the COVID Health Response Bill. We still have to restore our Bill of Rights. We still have to reopen our borders. We still have to save our businesses. We still have to ensure that our lives will not be discriminated against if we choose not to have the vaccine. Remember, you are the one you've been waiting for. And remember, the best is yet to come. Where we go one, we go all. And that's it, folks. That was my speech, my one and only speech that I gave at Aotea Square. yeah, so I didn't memorize it. Obviously, I read it. It would have been better if I had been able to commit that to memory, but that's life, isn't it? I just wanted to at least put my thoughts out there, and I wanted to share it with you now. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and do the normal YouTube thing, like, share, subscribe. I always forget to say that. And otherwise, have a good day, and I look forward to seeing you or talking to you in the next episode of the Sarah Speaks podcast. Thanks for stopping by. See you later. Bye now.